At our wedding, Noah, who was about to become my husband, was going to project a carefully edited video of our love story onto the big screen from his phone. But halfway through the video, an unexpected call came in, with the caller ID showing wife. But it wasn't my number. Noah and I were holding our wedding reception at the Grand Hotel. He wore the dark gray suit I had personally picked out for him, standing on stage delivering his speech. Our relatives and friends in the audience were smiling, and so was I. Until I saw Skylar in the corner, head bowed, fiddling with her phone. Noah and I were college sweethearts. We'd been together for 5 years. He was the one who pursued me. Skylar was his childhood friend. In's words, they had known since they were in diapers and were as close as family. Before the wedding, Noah and I had many arguments. Over's tearful calls at 2 a.m., and their weekly, unmissable private dinners. Each time, Noah would put his arm around me, his voice resigned yet affectionate. My little jealous girl, she's just like a sister to me. You're the one I want to spend my life with. Later, he deleted Skylar's WhatsApp contact right in front of me. I thought he understood boundaries. The wedding reception moved to the ring exchange. The MC was building the atmosphere, asking Noah and me to share our love story. Noah picked up on the cue, mentioning the meticulously crafted video of our relationship. It was meant to be projected onto the big screen at this very moment, allowing everyone to witness the 5 years we had spent together. But halfway through the video, an unexpected call came in, with the caller ID showing wife. But it wasn't my number. A moment of silence fell over the entire room. The MC let out a couple of awkward laughs, trying to smooth things over. Noah's expression subtly shifted. He quickly hung up the call and stopped the projection. He looked at me, his eyes showing a hint of panic, but he quickly composed himself and forced a smile. Just a prank call. Don't know why, but they've been calling a lot lately. My heart sank, little by little. At that moment, Skylar looked up, raised her glass, and gestured towards us, smiling innocently and brightly. Noah, Olivia, congratulations. I'm so happy for you. She tilted her head back and emptied the glass. Her movements were a bit too dramatic, some wine trickled down the corner of her mouth. She exclaimed oops, and fumbled for a tissue, accidentally knocking over the red wine glass in front of her. The crimson liquid instantly spilled onto the off-white tablecloth, rapidly spreading into a large, damp stain. Noah practically rushed off the stage, taking a few long strides to reach her side. He pulled out tissues and bent down to wipe her skirt, his expression tense with concern. How could you be so careless? Are you okay? Your dress is all wet. Skylar allowed him to attend to her, then looked up at me on stage, a hint of provocation in her eyes, though her voice was soft and sweet. I'm so sorry, Olivia. Seeing how happy you are, I just got too excited and messed up your special day. All the guests' gazes converged on this small incident, laden with various interpretations. I stood on stage, wearing an expensive gown and a sparkling diamond ring, yet I felt like an outsider. All I could do was watch my fiancé lose his composure publicly at our own wedding reception, all for another woman. I took a deep breath and took the microphone from the MC's hand. Noah, who is wife? My voice, amplified by the speakers, resonated throughout the room. Noah stopped wiping her skirt and looked up, displeased. I already told you it was a prank call. Olivia, what kind of occasion is this? Do you really have to make a scene over such a trivial thing? Trivial thing? I forced a smile, then pulled out my own phone. Oh really? Then I'll call it back and see whose prank call could make the caller ID show wife. I made to dial the number. Noah stood up straight, his face completely darkening. Olivia, that's enough. Are you ever going to stop? He suppressed his anger and took a few steps back to the stage, trying to snatch my phone. Don't embarrass yourself here. I sidestepped his hand, turning my gaze to Skylar, whose face had gone pale below the stage. Noah, you know perfectly well who is truly embarrassing you. It's her. Skylar's eyes immediately reddened, looking utterly wronged. Noah saw her expression, then suddenly raised his hand and violently swept away the top few layers of glasses from the champagne tower nearby. The crisp sound of shattering glass stunned the entire room into silence. Golden wine and glass shards splattered everywhere, mirroring our shattered trust. Olivia, it's just a contact name. Do you really have to blow it out of proportion on a day like this, and drag my name and the reputation of the Zhou family through the mud? The furious man before me felt utterly unfamiliar. The who had once immediately deleted Skylar's contact just because I said I don't like it now felt like a mere figment of my imagination. The more agitated and abnormal he became, the clearer the vague suspicion in my heart grew. But I didn't break down crying or make a scene as he probably expected. The brilliant diamond ring on my ring finger felt as heavy as shackles now. Noah, I'm tired of arguing with you. He froze, seemingly unprepared for my calm demeanor. I no longer looked at him, instead turning to the guests, whose faces showed various expressions, and bowed deeply. My apologies, dear friends and family. I'm sorry to have put on such a spectacle today. This wedding, it's over. With that, ignoring Noah's instantly pale face and his outstretched hand trying to stop me, I walked straight off the stage. My heels clicked softly as I stepped over the wine stains and glass shards on the floor. As I passed Skylar, I paused for a second. She instinctively flinched back. I looked at her, Yuling a faint smile across my lips. Miss Skylar, he's all yours now. I didn't linger. Straightening my back, I walked out of the banquet hall, step by step, under everyone's gaze. Behind me, Noah seemed to be wildly smashing more glasses, and Skylar's tearful voice pleaded, Noah, don't be like this, it's all my fault. I'll go explain to Olivia. That scene must have been utterly disgraceful. Leaving the hotel, I didn't go home. It was filled with traces of my life with Noah. Going back now would only suffocate me. I checked into a nearby hotel room, turned off my phone, and shut out all attempts to reach me. I spent a sleepless night. The next morning, I turned on my phone, and a flood of missed calls and messages poured in, mostly from Noah and my parents. Noah's messages ranged from angry accusations like, what exactly do you want, to answer the phone, let's talk, eventually becoming a weary, come home, stop making a scene. I didn't reply to any of them. I opened WhatsApp. The small WhatsApp group chat with Noah and his close friends, which I had infiltrated with a burner account the night before the wedding, was indeed buzzing. Someone had posted photos from the aftermath last night. Noah was surrounded by a group, drinking silently with his head down. Skylar sat beside him, carefully handing him water. In the photos, the noticeable red wine stain on her skirt was still visible. Another voice message was from Liam, Noah's best friend, his tone teasing. Skylar's stunt last night was quite something. But, don't be too down. Women, you just need to sweet talk them. If it really comes down to it, you could always pick Skylar. Someone else chimed in, exactly, Noah, Skylar has been devoted to you for so many years. Why don't you just take her in, have both of them? Noah replied with an impatient voice message, stop with the damn nonsense. Skylar and I are completely innocent. Olivia is just looking for trouble. Innocent? Liam scoffed, give me a break, eh? A lot of us friends know what's going on, don't we? You two only managed to keep your little secret from that foolish woman, Olivia. That voice message was quickly deleted. I stared at the screen, my heart aching so much I could barely breathe. It turned out that in their circle, Noah and Skylar's relationship had long been an open secret. Only I, like an idiot, had been kept in the dark, believing I had the most perfect love in the world. I took a deep breath, suppressing the stinging in my eyes. This wasn't the time to cry. I called a private investigator and gave him Noah and Skylar's information. After doing all that, I returned to the apartment Noah and I shared. He wasn't home, he was probably at the office or somewhere else. The apartment still smelled faintly of last night's festivities. The wedding favors, beautifully packaged and meant for our friends and family, were laid out by the entrance, looking utterly ironic now. I started packing my things. Anything that wasn't mine, I didn't want. Anything that was mine, I wanted to clear out. Noah returned, reeking of alcohol. Seeing me pack, his face instantly darkened. Olivia, have you made enough of a scene? You walked out yesterday, and today you're back packing your things? What exactly are you trying to do? I put the last item of clothing into my suitcase, zipped it up, and stood up, looking at him calmly. Noah, let's break up. He scoffed, just because of a contact name? Olivia, are you out of your mind? I dragged my suitcase towards the door. You know perfectly well it's not just about a contact name between you and her. The wedding's off. We'll get the divorce papers in a couple of days, and then we go our separate ways. He lunged forward, grabbing my wrist. The smell of alcohol wafted into my face. I forbid it. Do you think marriage is a game? You just say it's off? I'm telling you, I won't agree. Noah, let go. I tried to pull free, but his fingers held me in an iron grip. His eyes were BL. Good shot, I won't let go. Olivia, have I been too lenient with you? You made me lose face in front of all the respectable people in this city yesterday, and today you dare to talk about breaking up? I'm telling you, forget about it. You'll stay right here, and when we pick a new date, you'll marry me obediently. Seeing his complete lack of remorse, the last shred of lingering affection in my heart vanished entirely. Marry you? then watch you and your dear sister Skylar continue your dramatic display of deep affection right under my nose. Noah, if you're not disgusted, I am. You. He raised his hand, seemingly about to hit me, but ultimately held back. There's nothing going on between Skylar and me. You just have a twisted mind and see everything as dirty. Oh really? I coldly scoffed, shook off his hand, pulled out my phone from my bag, opened the photos the private investigator had just sent me that afternoon, and held them up to his face. The photos, taken in a corner of an upscale restaurant, showed Noah and Skylar sitting across from each other. Skylar was smiling as she fed him dessert. Noah lowered his head slightly, taking the food from her hand, his gaze gentle. The date of the photos was just 3 days before our wedding. Noah's face instantly turned ugly. I looked into his eyes and asked, word by word, Noah, do you still call this completely innocent? He stammered, trying to explain, Olivia, she was just upset that day, so I had dinner with her. She was upset, and she was feeding you food? Noah, save that excuse for someone who'll believe it. I no longer looked at him. Dragging my suitcase, I walked out without looking back, leaving the place that had once held all my fantasies of home and future. The moment the door closed behind me, I heard the crash of something being smashed inside. But in my heart, there was only a chilling calm. I stayed at the hotel. Noah didn't contact me again, probably because that photo left him speechless. A few days later, the private investigator gave me an envelope. Inside were more proofs of Noah and Skylar's close interactions, going to late-night movies together, shopping at home furnishing stores, and even photos of Skylar frequently entering and leaving another apartment owned by Noah. Looking at those clear timelines and photos, my heart was so numb I couldn't feel any pain. It turned out that while I was busy preparing for the wedding, immersed in a facade of happiness, they had already been secretly carrying on behind my back. I organized all the evidence and made several copies. Just as I was about to contact a lawyer to discuss the breakup and asset division, my phone suddenly rang. It was an unknown number. When I answered, Skylar's voice came through. Olivia, it's me, Skylar. I frowned, not wanting to waste words with her. What do you want? Olivia, please don't be angry. I just wanted to explain, Noah and I. It was the same as before, feigning weakness and playing the victim. I cut her off directly. Skylar, there's no one else here, you don't need to perform. I'm not interested in hearing about your business with Noah. Please don't call me again. I was about to hang up after saying that. Olivia, wait. Actually, I called to tell you that I'm pregnant. My heart suddenly plummeted. Although I had a premonition, hearing it confirmed still felt like being struck by a sledgehammer. I forced myself to remain calm. Is that so? Congratulations. Is the father? The other end of the line was silent for a few seconds, then her soft sobs came through. Yes. Olivia, I'm sorry. I never intended to tell you, but Noah really wants this child. I gripped my phone, my nails digging deeply into my palm. Even after all this, Noah was still stubbornly refusing to break up, probably because of Moonlight, the company we ran together. He wanted to stabilize me, make me, his legitimate fiancé, marry him obediently, then keep Skylar and their child hidden in the shadows, waiting until my value was completely drained before forcing me out. What a cunning plan. Skylar, you're pregnant, you should go to Noah. What good is coming to me? Do you expect me to send blessings for your child? She quickly said, no, it's not that. I just felt you should know. This child was an accident, and Noah has been in a lot of pain, feeling guilty towards you. Olivia, can you please forgive him this once? After all, you two have so many years of history. Waves of nausea rising up made me hang up the phone directly. Once a cheater, always a cheater. What's more, they had a child. I took a deep breath and called Noah. It rang several times before he answered. The background was quiet. Hello? Without any preamble, I said, Noah, is Skylar pregnant? She contacted you? I snapped, answer me. Yes. Olivia, I was drunk at the time, it wasn't intentional. It was almost impressive he could come up with such a cliché excuse as being drunk. What are you going to do? Marry me, then let her have the baby and secretly raise their child born out of wedlock? Noah, what do you take me for? What do you take our 5 years for? Olivia, give me some time, I'll handle it. He almost made me laugh in anger. I picked up the envelope containing the evidence, my eyes hardening. Noah, we are completely over. Regarding asset division, I'll see you in court. Olivia. No. I know I made a mistake, please give me another chance. You're the one I love. The word love coming from his mouth was utterly ironic. Your love is too cheap. Save it for your child and their mother. I stopped listening to his excuses, hung up the phone, and blocked all his contact information. The world finally became quiet. I gazed at the city neon lights outside the window, my heart a sheet of ice. 5 years of a relationship, apparently so fragile. But strangely, once the worst was confirmed, I felt a sense of relief. Good riddance. What soiled should be thrown away. The humiliation and betrayal they inflicted upon me, I had to repay them with interest. After blocking Noah, the world didn't immediately become quiet. My mom's calls came in like a death knell, starting immediately with complaints. Honey, why are you being so unreasonable? Noah is such a catch, and you just broke up with him? And you made a scene at the wedding reception? How will our family ever face our relatives again? Listening to her voice on the phone, my heart was a sheet of ice. These were my family members. They only cared about appearances, about the good match with the Zhou family, but no one asked if I was hurting. Mom, Noah cheated on me. Skylar is pregnant with his child. The other end of the line instantly fell silent. After several seconds, she spoke, her voice laced with disbelief. That can't be, can it? Noah seemed like such a decent boy. Is there some misunderstanding? And, I watched that girl grow up. She's not that kind of person. I have photos of them entering and leaving the apartment together, and a recording of Skylar herself admitting she's pregnant. Do you want to hear it? My mom fell silent, finally mumbling, well, we can't just let it go like that. 5 years of your youth. You have to make him pay for it. We can't let that homewrecker get off easy. See, this is reality. Once they knew it was irreparable, they immediately started calculating gains and losses. I know what to do. I hung up the phone, wearily rubbing my temples. I had no intention of letting them off easily, but it wasn't just for compensation. I just wanted to reclaim what was mine and make them pay for their actions. I contacted a lawyer and handed over all the evidence I had collected. After reviewing everything, the lawyer informed me that Noah's infidelity during our engagement and his child born out of wedlock with another person constituted a significant fault, which would put me in a highly advantageous position regarding asset division, especially since I had evidence of him using our joint savings to buy luxury goods for Skylar and pay the down payment for that apartment. The lawyer adjusted his glasses. Ms. Olivia, this evidence is very strong. We can argue for him to receive a smaller share or no share of the joint assets, and also demand emotional distress compensation. Okay, thank you for your help. Noah and I had been running Moonlight together. Although he was the legal representative, most of the business operations and financial transactions passed through my hands, and we had accumulated substantial joint assets over the years. I would absolutely not allow that money to support him, Skylar, and their child. The day after the lawyer's letter was sent, Noah called me from a different number. As soon as I answered, his infuriated voice erupted. Olivia, you actually hired a lawyer to make me walk away with nothing? Are you out of your mind? That studio is my life's work. I scoffed coldly. Noah, without the clients I brought in, without the designs I worked on day and night, without the accounts I meticulously managed to save money, your life's work would have failed long ago. You're spending our joint assets to support your mistress, getting her pregnant to spite me, and now you want to talk about your life's work? He was choked into silence, then finally ground out through clenched teeth. Fine, very well. Olivia, you're ruthless. You want money, right? Okay, I'll give it to you. But the child Skylar is carrying is mine, and I have to be responsible for it. If you dare to touch her or the child, I swear I'll make you pay. Don't worry, I have no interest in touching her, I said indifferently. It would dirty my hands. I hung up the phone, knowing that any last shred of sentiment between Noah and me was completely severed, leaving only naked battles over interests and mutual hatred. To my surprise, Skylar actually dared to seek me out again. That afternoon, I had an appointment with a client at a coffee shop near my studio. Afterward, as I stepped out of the coffee shop, I saw Skylar standing across the street, wearing a loose-fitting dress, her abdomen already showing a slight bulge. When she saw me, she immediately crossed the street and walked over. Olivia. I frowned, not wanting to engage, and turned to walk away. Olivia, don't be like that. She reached out to grab me, but I dodged her. I know you hate me and Noah, but the baby is innocent. He needs a father. He needs a complete family. I stopped and looked back at her, and she took a deep breath, as if steeling herself. So, can you just let us be? You and Noah are over. Why do you still need to take his money? He worked hard for that money, and he'll need it to support his child. Her logic almost made me laugh in anger. Skylar, that money was earned jointly by him and me, Every single cent represents my sweat and toil. Why should it be left for you to raise their child born out of wedlock?" Skylar's face instantly flushed red, and her eyes welled up. "Olivia, I always thought you were kind and generous. I never thought you could be so vicious." I looked at her coldly. "Does being kind and generous mean you get to treat me like an idiot?" "Skylar, stop acting in front of me. Your tears might work on Noah, but they don't work on me. If you have the guts, make him willingly walk away with nothing for you. Don't come here with your emotional manipulation." She was left speechless by my retort, simply covering her stomach and looking at me with tearful eyes, appearing completely bullied. Passers-by were already casting curious glances our way. I didn't want to get tangled up with her any longer and turned to leave. But she suddenly stepped forward and grabbed my arm. "Olivia, don't push your luck. Noah might be soft-hearted, but I'm not. If you dare to make him leave with nothing, I will absolutely not let you off." I forcefully yanked my arm away from her hand, watching her stumble backward from the momentum, her face pale as she clutched a nearby lamppost. "What? Trying to fake an accident?" I scoffed. "Skylar, cut out your games. Bring it on, I'm ready for you." With that, I ignored her and walked straight to my car. Through the rearview mirror, I saw her still standing there, glaring venomously in my direction. I knew in my heart that, given Skylar's nature, she would never give up. But I never expected her revenge to come so quickly, and so brutally. A few days later, as I was driving to the law office, waiting at a red light at an intersection, an out-of-control motorcycle suddenly slammed violently into my driver's side door. The deafening sound of the impact was immense. The airbag instantly deployed, hitting my face hard. I was left dazed and disoriented, with a sharp pain in my chest, as if my ribs were broken. The car window shattered, showering me with fragments. In a haze, I felt a warm liquid gush from beneath me, and a tearing, cramping pain in my lower abdomen. My heart sank, and a thought I dared not believe surfaced. I was pregnant? I struggled to reach for my phone, but the pain and the dizziness from the impact left me immobile. My vision blurred. I saw the motorcyclist, who caused the accident, get up from the ground, glance at my car, then ride his motorcycle and quickly flee the scene. There seemed to be a commotion around, people calling for an ambulance. Finally, I completely succumbed to darkness. I woke up again in a hospital room, filled with the smell of disinfectant. My entire body ached as if it had been broken into pieces, especially my lower abdomen, which felt emptily painful. My best friend, Sophia, was sitting by my bedside. Seeing me awake, her eyes red-rimmed, she squeezed my hand. "Honey, you're awake? How do you feel? Don't be scared, it's all over now." I asked in a hoarse voice, "Is the baby gone?" Sophia's tears immediately streamed down her face. She nodded, choked up. "The impact was too severe, they couldn't save it. The doctor said you were about 6 weeks pregnant." I had lost a child without even knowing I was pregnant. The police soon arrived in the room to take my statement. They reviewed the intersection surveillance footage and discovered that the motorcycle had intentionally accelerated and crashed into my car, classifying it as attempted murder. Moreover, the motorcycle had fake plates, and the perpetrator wore a helmet, obscuring his face. After fleeing, he quickly vanished into a surveillance blind spot. The police officer asked me, "Ms. Olivia, have you offended anyone recently?" I thought of Skylar almost without hesitation, recalling her venomous glare and threats that day. I told the police about the entanglement between Noah, Skylar, and me, as well as Skylar's threats. The police immediately opened a case and summoned Skylar and Noah. Faced with police questioning, Skylar cried profusely, insisting she knew nothing and claiming I was deliberately framing her out of jealousy over her pregnancy. Noah, his face ashen, stood beside her and addressed both the police and me. "Officer, this is absolutely a misunderstanding. Skylar is a timid person, she wouldn't even step on an ant. How could she possibly hire someone to murder? Olivia, I know you hate me and Skylar, but you can't retaliate against us in such a way." Watching them cooperate, I felt so sick I almost threw up. Suppressing my physical pain and inner indignation, I told the police, "Whether it's a false accusation or not, we'll know after an investigation. I demand a thorough investigation into all of Skylar's recent communication records and financial transactions." Perhaps even heaven couldn't stand by. When the police investigated Skylar's social connections, they discovered an unexplained sum of money in the account of one of her distant cousins, who also happened to have a history of motorcycle theft. After interrogation and handwriting analysis, faced with undeniable evidence, the cousin couldn't hold up and finally confessed that Skylar had paid him to stage a traffic accident, intending to teach me a lesson and ideally leave me bedridden for months. He hadn't expected it to lead to a loss of life. With irrefutable evidence, Skylar could no longer deny her involvement. She was formally arrested by the police, charged with intentional assault and attempted murder. As the police handcuffed her, she completely broke down, struggling and screaming through tears. "It wasn't me. Olivia forced me into this. She stole my man, and she wanted to steal my money. She deserved it. Losing her baby was karma." Noah stood by, watching Skylar being led away, looking as if his soul had been sucked out of him. He walked to my bedside, parted his lips, his voice dry. "Olivia, I didn't know she would be so extreme. The baby. Our baby." "Shut up," I snapped, cutting him off. "Noah, you don't deserve to mention that child. If you hadn't lost control of yourself, if you hadn't indulged her, would any of this have happened? Who are you putting on this act for now?" He dejectedly lowered his head, running his hands through his hair, his shoulders slumping. Skylar's case, with its solid evidence, was processed quickly. In the end, she was found guilty of intentional assault and attempted murder. With multiple charges combined, she was sentenced to 7 years in prison. On the day of the sentencing, Noah also went to court. He sat in the audience, watching Skylar being escorted away by the bailiffs, never once glancing at me. The relationship between him and me finally reached its end in the most tragic way possible. After my body slowly recovered, the asset division case with Noah also went to court. Perhaps out of guilt, or perhaps Skylar's imprisonment had disheartened him, or it could be that the evidence I held left him no chance of winning. Noah didn't struggle much further, accepting the settlement almost without resistance. Ultimately, most of our joint assets, including the assets of Moonlight, our savings, and that apartment he bought for Skylar, were awarded to me. He virtually walked away with nothing, only retaining his old car he'd driven for years and a small amount of cash. After signing the final document, I walked out of the courthouse into a light drizzle. Noah stood at the bottom of the steps, without an umbrella. The rain matted his hair and soaked his suit, making him look disheveled and forlorn. He looked at me, his eyes empty, his lips moving as if to speak. But I didn't give him the chance. I opened my umbrella, walked down the steps, and past him, not pausing for a moment. "Olivia." He whispered my name behind me, his voice swallowed by the rain. I didn't look back. Everything from the past, love or hate, had completely washed away with the child I never met and this cold rain. I left the city that had held so many of my joys and tears and moved to a small town in the south. The climate there was mild, and the pace of life was slow. With the money I received, I opened a small flower shop, living a peaceful and fulfilling life. Occasionally, I would hear scattered news about Noah from mutual friends, saying he had resigned from his job and left his old social circle, seemingly not doing well. As I listened, my heart remained undisturbed. Some people are simply passers-by in life, teaching you to grow, then turning and leaving. When the sky cleared, the flowers in my shop were in full bloom. I picked up the watering can, carefully tending to each leaf and stem. Sunlight streamed through the glass window, warm and comforting. I knew my new life had just begun. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.